So what can we do about these feelings that we're having? I want to share with you a diagram that was shared with me today that I think is really helpful in these situations. Although earlier I said we certainly want to accept the emotions that we have, we also want to kind of be able to move through them, not get consumed by them. And so essentially, in response to COVID, there are three ways that we can think about where we're at in any given moment. Are we in a fear zone, or are we in a learning zone, or are we in a kind of a growing zone? And I'd like to share with you just a few things that came out of that, and then perhaps also we can get this diagram put up on our website and perhaps as part of this program as well today, because I think it's absolutely indispensable. So the question becomes, who do I want to be during this COVID-19? And think about where you are in these different zones I'm going to mention. If I'm in the fear zone, I'm perhaps hoarding food, toilet paper, medicines that I really don't need. Perhaps I'm even transmitting some of my anger and anxiety onto other people. If we're moving past the fear zone into the learning zone, perhaps we're better able to stop compulsively consuming things that are harmful to us emotionally, perhaps even physically. It's learning to let go of this idea that we might be in control. It's learning to accept that there's a certain measure of being out of control or not having control in situations like this. It's also the ability to identify and express how I'm feeling emotionally to other people. And then thirdly, moving into the growth zone, we might see behaviors such as, I'm thinking more about how I can help other people. I'm thinking about my talents and resources and how I might use those to be of benefit to other people in my neighborhood or in my life. I'm living in the present moment in terms of not being too worried about what I don't have control over, but really taking into account and being appreciative and having some gratitude for the moments or even the silver linings that exist in this moment, and finding creative and adaptive ways to adapt to these changes that are happening all around us. And I think that dovetails nicely with a few other ideas I had, and these might even be great for families that are trying to figure out, particularly if I'm moving into that growing zone, what can we do to help us as a family cope through times like these? And I heard of a program today called Shopping Angels, which is a nonprofit that was set up where volunteers from all over the world and certainly all over our country are coming together, and they're offering opportunities to purchase and then go deliver groceries to frail and elderly people in our community that are concerned about going outside. So that's a great way for a family to participate. It gets them active, it gets them out in safe and manageable ways, but it also helps them feel like they're doing something good. Food pantries are another great way to feel like, as a family or as an individual, I'm making a difference in terms of what's happening in our community. And a few of the other common and important ones: physical exercise is absolutely essential. We have to get moving. We can't stay stuck in our home, bound and worried all the time. We have to get out and get the endorphins going and get moving. And there are lots of ways, as a family and as individuals, we can get some physical exercise and movement and still practice safe social distancing at the same time. Yoga, meditation, deep breathing, clearly always a very common and effective way to help get the anxiety in our nervous system, the stress hormones in our nervous system, to settle down. So consider getting a free app or listening to some podcasts that help you find ways that are very easy throughout your day to take some deep breaths and practice some meditation that just helps your nervous system calm down and kind of feel a bit more stable during this difficult time. If you're a couple, date nights. We might have to get creative. We can't go to the restaurant anymore, but we can certainly do things with our spouses around our homes. Try to make the best of it. Get some candles, make a special dinner, bottle of wine if that's your thing, or some iced tea. Doesn't matter. It's about spending time with somebody and being deliberate about carving out and creating these opportunities for connection, even during this time that's difficult. And lastly, I do think it's important that we learn to accept the emotions that we're having. They're normal. How you're feeling in terms of worry and anxiety about the unknown. Millions and millions of people are feeling throughout the world. But we do have control over how we adapt to the situation that we're going through. So we don't have a lot of control over all these unknowns. What's going to happen week to week, the death rate, the infection rate. We don't have control over that, but we do have some control over how we're going to choose to adapt to this situation. So we normalize these feelings, but we're also encouraging ourselves to try to move through them in a healthy way as well too, and adapt as best we can to these situations that we're going through. And here are a few I just mentioned that I think could help.